This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 201, Aussie Mac Zone. I've got Garth. How are you, buddy?
Michael, I am well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And we've got Nick hiding in the corner there.
Michael, how are you?
Good, mate. Now, don't forget, we are presented by athwebhosting.com.au. Affordable and competitive plans, 99.95 at least % uptime, domain registration, free setup, instant activation, 250 scripts with one click, all from $5.95 per month when paid annually. So firstly, sorry everyone for missing last week. It must have been all of the celebrations for that 200th show that knocked us about. What do you reckon?
I think so, Michael. I might have had too big a night, eh?
Yeah. So we finally caught up, and we're lucky enough to get Apple's Q3 investors call. That was the biggest news, I think. So Apple overall, there was unit and revenue growth across all categories. 2017 was the biggest and best WWDC ever. Apple sold 41.02 million iPhones. 41 million iPhones. 11.4.
Quite a few, yeah.
I know. iPads, 4.3 million Macs. And the quarterly revenue was up 7% over the same quarter last year at 45.4 billion. Now, iPad saw nearly a 15% unit growth, the first in a long time for iPad sales, which was interesting. Apple will invest $1 billion in advanced technology, and $200 million is going to Corning to start with. So we already knew about that. There were over 300 million visitors to Apple retail and online, but they didn't break down what the ratios were. There's now 497 Apple stores around the world, including 2 new flagship stores in India, Singapore, and Taiwan. And Apple successfully Today at Apple was successfully launched in May with in-store classes and lectures on iPhone, photography, art, coding, etc. And stores across the globe have hosted more than 87,000 sessions. So that's 87,000 free lessons for people, which is awesome.
Wow, that is actually amazing, isn't it?
Like, yeah, when you put a number like that in front of it, it just... Yeah, and they go for, what, like an hour, don't they, at least? So
I don't know, yeah.
So I think that's great. Yeah, services is also very big. Apple's services business now equals that of a Fortune 100 company, with 22% growth over last year and an all-time quarterly record of $7 billion. The App Store is the major driver of the profits, with nearly twice the revenue of Google Play, which makes sense. iCloud storage and Apple Pay are continuing to grow. Paid subscriptions across all services has reached over 1.85 million. So part of that's me because I agreed to upgrade my iCloud, so I'm paying for it now.
Oh, about time, Michael. Come on.
Now, so when asked about what is driving the growth in services, Lucas Maestri said the App Store is seeing an increasingly larger amount of paying accounts on a year-over-year basis. Blah, blah, blah. One reason is that Apple is making it easier for people to pay on the App Store outside of the US, for example. The App Store now supports Alipay in China. Another reason is that the quality and quantity of content continues to grow, and Apple Music continues to gain a lot of new subscribers, and iCloud storage subscribers, like me, is growing. And what we're seeing in App Store, the spending profile is similar across all generations. People tend to spend more over time, Maestri said. So what do you reckon about those? Big numbers,
I
aren't
reckon
they?
my microphone's dangly.
You still got brewer's droop, have we? Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's going lower as I'm every second. Every time I look around, it's down a bit further. Anyway, meanwhile, back to the Apple news. I thought, one of the most interesting things there, well, there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, but
Yeah.
the 4 years, finally we see a turnaround in the fortunes of the iPad.
Yes. Yeah.
An increase in 17% or something like that, I remember. And, we've been wondering year after year, is this the year that finally iPads will increase again? And it seems the strategy they have with the two new iPad Pros, and the probably more likely the cheaper iPad as it is now, the sort of new lineup, I guess, the 9.7 being the cheap model, older spec, still pretty sweet, and then moving up to the 10.5 and the 13 Pros, has finally turned around the fortunes for that product, which is pretty cool.
Yes, it is. It's great. There'll be a bit more of that in a sec. So, just getting back into it. The iPhone 7 was Apple's most popular this quarter. i7 Plus sales were up dramatically over last year. And after 10 years in existence, Apple has sold more than 1.2 billion iPhones. And when asked about the growth rate of the iPhone's install base, Cook said there is no real formula for upgrade rate. Depends on a number of factors like size of install base, upgrade plans, regional distribution, and a lot more. So right now, Apple has a lot of opportunities, upgraders, first-time phone buyers, switchers, etc. When asked about what is driving growth in iPhone sales at a time when overall smartphone sales is low, Cook said Apple's install base continues to grow, which will generate upgrades over time. And he noted that the company's ability to convince people to switch is a major factor in growth as well. Although first-time buyer rates in established markets are down, it's nearly untouched in developing markets. So we haven't even got started yet, Cook said. Now,
so there is a lot of markets where they currently have not got a huge footprint, and I think you basically need the fortunes of those markets to turn around a little bit. The average customer in those markets to become a little bit more wealthy to be able to really make an inroad there as well, though. So,
but as
he's quite right in saying that they haven't made a footprint there yet. It's there's a few caveats around that statement, surely.
Yeah, but as long as they keep it aspirational, they should be.
Yes,
that's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's true. Yep, absolutely.
iPad sales growth up 17%, the best in 4 years. The iPad owns 55% of the overall tablet market share and has captured 89% in the market of tablets over $200. iPads in education sales are up 32%. 1.2 million students are using iPad and Swift Playground to learn coding. Satisfaction rates of the iPad hovering around 95 to 99% according to consumer surveys. And Apple noted that Walmart will deploy an iPad program for 19,000 of its employees for training purposes across all 50 states. Bank of America, Medtronic and Panera are reportedly going to be rolling out 10.5-inch iPad Pro devices across key areas of their organisation. So that's another couple of thousand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's great to hear that people are still interested.
Well, I think we finally got to the point where a number of those devices fell off the other end too. They just were so long lasting that finally people thought, what, maybe now is the time I have to update this iPad. Yeah.
Well, I've still got an original sitting in there that I use at car shows for just runs a video showing different things at a car show. So
there you go.
Why would I stop using it?
No idea.
Now, the Mac saw a new June quarter sales records in Japan and mainland China, thanks to the update of the MacBook and the MacBook Pro. And overall, Mac sales grew 7% over last year. So again, it was only 3 weeks ago we were talking about the demise of the Mac and it was all stagnant and...
Yeah. Not so.
7% is 7%, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, we're still continuing. we've got the wearables. Sales of Apple Watch were up 50% in the last quarter. AirPods have 98% customer satisfaction, and Apple has increased production of AirPods, but are still not able to meet demand. Now, every time I see someone with AirPods, I ask them, what their opinion is, how good are they, what do they think of them, and like they say, 98% customer satisfaction. They're great, and they do what I want them to do, and that's the most important thing. The last guy said, how come you only got one in? He says, because I have one in all day. I have one in most of the day, and then when it goes flat, I just put the other one in, and therefore I've got something in my ear the whole time, so I don't miss any calls. Yeah,
that's what I mostly do too, just one at a time. Yeah,
and he was just one of the guys selling petrol at a petrol station. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. HomePod. Not much was mentioned about HomePod, except that Cook said he is very excited about it. Augmented reality and AR kit. And when asked about Apple's future with augmented reality and AR kit, Cook said, I think AR is big and profound, and this is one of those huge things that we'll look back and marvel at the start of. So that's something to look forward to. Now, a big issue for a lot of people, a lot of commentators in the States anyway, VPN issues in China. Apple was recently asked by China's government to remove a large number of VPN apps from the App Store in China. When asked to comment on the situation, Cook explained that the central government in China started tightening regulations involving VPN apps this year. Apple has a number of these apps in the App Store. One requirement of operating a VPN in China is that the developer needs an official license from the government. Apple was told to remove any VPN apps from the App Store that didn't meet the requirements. We'd rather not remove them, but like we do around the world, we follow the laws of different countries where we do business, Cook said. We're hoping the restrictions we're seeing will be lifted because restrictions stifle creativity. Now, AI and the autonomous vehicle. When asked to expand on Apple's position on artificial intelligence and the rumour that Apple is looking into creating an autonomous vehicle, Cook said, we're very focused from a core technology point of view. We've got a large program going and we've been investing a lot. Autonomy is the mother of all AI projects, and cars are not the only thing. Because trucks and buses are very...
Yes, they're also important. Anything that moves a lot of people around, really.
Yeah. Was there something about even an AI airplane the other day?
Well, how much of the airplane flight is AI anyway?
Yeah, most of it.
Autonomous, if not AI.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy's sitting there just in case.
Yeah, for a good part of it anyway, yeah.
Now, there was a thing where President Trump claimed that Apple would be building some big plants in the US. So US President Donald Trump recently told the Wall Street Journal that Cook promised to build 3 manufacturing plants in the US. Though no one at Apple directly denied the statement, Cook tried to clarify what he believes Trump was referring to. According to Cook, Apple has created 2 million jobs in the US. We view that we have a responsibility in the US, including increasing jobs. There are 3 main categories of jobs that Apple has created in the US. App developers. Apple has contributed strongly to the developer community. Last year, Apple purchased about $50 billion in goods and services, and some have been manufacturing related. The company has also created an advanced manufacturing fund, which we know Corning is getting $200 for the glass for iPhones and iPads, which will be exported to factories around the world. And 2/3 of our employee base is in the US, despite only 1/3 of its revenue being there. We'll speak more about that later in the year. So that was very mysterious, they believed. So we do have a link to the iMore have got the complete transcript of the whole. Yeah, so we've got that a link to that in our notes.
If you want excruciating detail.
Yes. So there was an interesting story that you chucked in here, which was pilots transferred photos using airdrop at 35,000 feet, but at feet.
35,000 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 planes in close proximity, two airline, passenger jets by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
And one was at 35 and one was at 36,000 feet, so roughly 1,000 feet between. Flying, as I said, in close proximity, so below. The guy at the bottom has taken a photo up. He said, "Here, I'll take a photo of you, mate," basically.
Yeah.
And then airdropped it to the pilot above him.
Which is pretty cool, isn't it?
It's just all sorts of awesome. Of course, way up in the thin atmosphere, presumably the Wi-Fi connection is able to happen over so much further.
Yeah.
But I just thought, really, can that truly be possible?
Yeah, not a lot of waves to interfere with you up there, so
Nothing
it's quite
much
possible.
at all. Yeah.
So there is a video, but when I looked it up, it was listed as private. But we'll try and dig it up and add that link to our show notes.
If we can, indeed. Yeah. But apparently, speaking the reporter at, where was it from? Apple Insider.
Yeah.
Spoke to a number of other people and said, yes, it is feasible, and to another pilot who said, yes, I've done the similar sort of thing. It's kind of common, not common, but it's something we do if we get the chance, because it's kind of cool.
Well, it's good to think that they're having some fun while they're actually working up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks
like your rear light. your rear lights out here. I'll take a photo.
Yeah. So now we've got the Turnbull government trying to make things a bit easier for us. They're reportedly developing a single log-on scheme for a range of government and consumer activities. Australians could soon be able to shop online, register their car and update medical details under a new super login scheme being developed by the Turnbull government. Speaking exclusively to the Courier Mail, Digital Transformation Assistant Minister Angus Taylor said the government is working on creating one username and password per person to do a range of activities. It could mean a person is able to update their address, buy groceries and stream their favourite shows under a single account. Or keep a lot more eye on you. Right now...
I know. So I'm not the only one who's completely scared of this idea.
Yeah.
I would also think it's very cool and useful.
Yes. Right now, you might have 10, 20 or 30 different logins across different websites, like the Department of Human Services or banks and the Taxation Department and telecoms and the state government. But Mr. Taylor told the Courier Mail the opt-in plan would likely involve a two-step verification process with the code being sent to a mobile phone. He said it could help people switch between companies more easily and reduce the risk of identity fraud by ensuring people do not have to remember as many passwords and login details. So now we've only got to give you one to get in the Department of Taxation and the Department of and your Medicare.
Well, all of those things are pretty much getting linked at the moment anyway, aren't they, under MyGov?
Yeah.
You log into your MyGov and it's got access to Centrelink, taxation, Medicare. You can associate all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then to be able to use that, I guess, use that
to
MyGov
log in Amazon, like
to log in at non-government sites as well. I guess I'm just sort of thinking about it now as I'm talking. Facebook and Google and all these sort of places offer that sort of login token, if you know what I mean. They're not actually, they don't have to give access to your account in order to verify your identity, so to speak. Yeah. So I guess it could be something like that where, it's just more a tying together of, this really is this person. It could be really cool. I mean, they couldn't sell us the Australia card back in the late 80s, early 90s, whenever that was, because of privacy issues. But take away a few of our logins and hell yeah, we'll all jump in, even if it's twice, 10 times scarier than the Australia card ever was.
Exactly right. Now, I just got to remember, look, there's a new display ad there for Aussie Tech Radio at aussietechradio.com with a couple of new links, and you can scroll up and down. So don't forget our friends, aussietechradio.com. And we've got the Aussie Tech Security Podcast and the Aussie Tech Heads award-winning Aussie Tech Heads Podcast. Absolutely award-winning. And don't forget, we are on Apple News, even though I haven't actually posted anything for a while. But I'm led to believe we're getting a lot of new review products coming soon. So
Beautiful.
yes. Now, I thought this one was interesting the other day when it popped up. And really, initially I only heard it on Channel 2, but then a couple of other people caught on. So a young computer researcher hailed a hero for derailing the WannaCry virus has been arrested by the FBI over sinister software. You might remember the face of Marcus Hutchins, and pictures of the curly-haired surfer from the UK were plastered all over the internet. I lost the ability to talk to him after he found a way.
Yeah. That's the squirrel's version of the internet, I think.
Yeah. After he found a way to inadvertently derail the WannaCry ransomware virus. The 22-year-old researcher from cybersecurity firm Cryptos Logic stopped the malware in its tracks by registering a specific website domain included in the code of the malware, and in doing so earned his 15 minutes of fame. But what a difference a few months make. On Thursday in the US, he was swooped on by the federal agents in Las Vegas for allegedly creating and distributing malicious software designed to collect bank account passwords in 2014. The youngster was on his way back to Britain from an annual gathering of hackers and information security experts in Las Vegas. The malware called Kronos that he is accused of creating infects web browsers and then captures users' names and passwords when an unsuspecting user visits a bank or other trusted location. Such software would be hugely valuable to willing cyber criminals. An unsealed indictment accused him of intentionally creating the banking malware for criminal purposes, as well as a conspiracy to sell it for around $3,700 between 2014 and 2015 on dark web marketplaces. The indictment also included a co-defendant, but the name had been mysteriously redacted, leading to conspiracies and questions about the case. The big question is, why is one name of the co-accused blacked out? Maybe the other guy testified against him, computer security expert Rob Graham wondered out loud to the Associated Press. News of Mr. Hutchins' detention, who is considered a rising star among white hatters, came as a shock to the cyber security community. Many have rallied behind the researcher whose quick thinking helped stop the spread of the WannaCry back in May. So there is a big story with this. Even some of the white hacker community have got behind him, but he hasn't pleaded guilty or not guilty, and they're still investigating the story some more.
It seems all too believable, though, doesn't it? Unfortunately.
Well, maybe he was a hacker and then realised I make more money out of white hacking when I go to the competitions. But he was
maybe, or maybe not. Or maybe he just maybe he discovered the ability. He obviously he helped out with that, but that could be in case of can't let them have the glory. it's and in any situation, it's the case for those sort of guys of just finding a way to beat whatever it is.
Yep.
Whether it's good or bad, that's not the point. It's just sort of, finding a way in, or stopping, or controlling, whatever.
Yeah. It's just it's amazing.
Got to beat it, whatever it is.
So our 200th episode winners, I will be contacting you this week now that we're all back on our feet, and getting your address from you. That's what I'll be asking for. and whether you've got a watch or not for various little prizes. So, and we'll be shooting them off to you. Now, I've got a bit of a story here that we need people to think about, and maybe go and read the rest of it, because I'm not going all the way into the story. But so smartphone use has radical impact on mental health of teens, claims San Diego SU psych professor. San Diego State University professor of psychology and author Jean Twenge has claimed that smartphone usage is having a radical impact on both the behaviour and mental health of teenagers. It says US teenagers, but it applies to everyone. The arrival of the smartphone has radically changed every aspect of teenagers' lives, from the nature of their social interactions to their mental health. Rates of teen depression and suicide have skyrocketed since 2011, and it's not an exaggeration to describe iGen as being on the brink of the worst mental health crisis in decades. Much of its deterioration can be traced to their phones. Far from being the usual generalised complaint about teens spending too much time staring at their screens, Dr. Twenge has plenty of hard data to support her contentions. So, there is the full story on 9 to 5 Mac. They talk about teenagers spending more time at home, but they're not actually interacting with anyone. And it's also the ability to read stupid people's comments on their phone that can upset people. So if you just like to have a read of it,
ability to be contacted at all times as well.
Not going to end on a bad note, but we just like you to think about it anyway. So instead of an email this week on how to, this was a call that I got. So help, the Photos app on my Mac and not showing iPhone photos when the iPhone's attached, so I can't import them. So when the caller attached their iPhone and opened photos on the Mac, selected the named iPhone in the left column, it would say no photos on the right hand side. There'd be just that it comes up with those no photos and just the white screen. So we tried restarting the Mac, same result. Restart the iPhone, same result. Change the USB socket on the back, same result. Tried another phone and could see pictures and ask if we wanted to import. So on the iPhone, we then reset the location and privacy setting. So you go into settings, general, reset, which is the last menu item, and select reset location and privacy. We then connected the iPhone. It then asks if you want to trust this device. Answer yes on the iPhone. And like magic, the iPhone's photos were there to import.
Boom. Well done, Michael.
Ta-da.
Well done.
Yeah, so that was like 45 minutes of panic while the boss was trying to get out the door with his phone and the secretary. But yeah, it's just it had lost that trust setting.
Import the photos.
Yeah, just came up and said no photos. So
maybe at some point it had been plugged in and they said no. Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. But yeah, it was just one of those things. And then how do you get around it once you've said no?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what we did. So if you just keep that in the back of your mind. So for all those people that are just listening, driving along, one day if your iPhone, when you're in photos and it says no photos and you know you've taken some photos, location and privacy. So I've run out.
I just got a message saying, warning, server connections interrupted.
Okay.
Don't know why, but anyway, never mind. I'm just going to give one little quick tip
please.
thing, and you know the things that I love. That's
Yeah.
keyboard shortcuts.
Excellent.
So in Mail, using Mail on the Mac,
Yeah.
And a lot of these will work in iOS as well. So if you do one of these people, that like hooking up a keyboard to their iPad or even to your iPhone, you can hook it any Bluetooth keyboard up to your iPhone.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. Anyway, the obvious Control R to reply, Control Shift R to reply all, Control Shift F to. No, I'm saying Control. I mean Command. Far out. I'm in Windows world. Command R for reply. Command Shift R for reply all. Command Shift or F for forward, and a weird one. Command Shift D for send. So the most obvious one that you want to use all the time, which is type your email, send.
Yep.
Command Shift D is the one you want
for send. Yeah, so I'll list
send.
those in our notes. Yep.
And I don't know, one of these I might have put in myself, but Command Shift A for synchronize all accounts, and Command Shift N for get all new mail. But I've got a feeling I might have put one of those ones in myself.
Okay, we'll double check.
And that leads us to another quick tip, which is anything up in your menu bar for whatever app you're in.
Yep.
If you go into your menu bar and you see an option in there and you think, what would be really handy is if that option had a keyboard shortcut. You can indeed create a keyboard shortcut for any action or whatever in your menus. And where do you do that, Michael? In system settings, keyboard, and shortcuts, I think. And you can go in there and create a new shortcut for an application. So you can make them there either system-wide or only specific to a specific application.
Yep.
And it's as simple as putting the exact text from that command into the dialogue. It'll prompt you for it. And so you just put in the exact text, including an ellipsis. If there's an ellipsis there, you need to put in the ellipsis.
Yep.
And yeah, so any menu item that you want to actually, it'd be great if that had a keyboard shortcut. You can go and pop it in system preferences.
And it does work well.
It does.
They're very good.
Yeah, so I use them all the time, like Command Shift N or Command Shift A. I'm not too sure which one, but I'm pretty sure I made up one of those ones.
But also, doing the text shortcuts too is great fun too. Like,
yes,
if you type something over and over and over again, you can just, as I said, I've got ones just W1 and W4, so that there's no way I can accidentally tip it. And one's 3 lines of text and one's 1 line of text that I always use in emails over and over again for insurance processes. So,
yeah. And they should be synced. They should sync across between your Mac and your iPhone as well.
Yeah.
Through iCloud if you've got all that happening. So really handy.
So, awesome. So there we go.
And
another day.
With that, that'll do us for the week, I think.
Yeah. So we just want to remember to thank our listeners, our sponsors, and our supporters. Thank you very much, listeners. You're the important ones that we're here for. Thank you, Nick.
No worries, Michael.
And thank you, Garth.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Nick. And good night, listeners.